IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week on the IVM Podcast Network. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Paytm Money Upfront. Guys, we're heading into week 2 of the lockdown, and I'm sure it's been challenging for all of you, just as it's been for us. We're doing our best to make sure that we maintain our schedules, but beg your indulgence if we slip. In the meantime, if you're looking for more stuff to listen to, might I suggest you go dive into the archives. We've got over 6,000 episodes of content we've created over the last 5 years, and I'm sure there's something in there that you'd love listening to. Anyway, stay safe, and let me get you started with your show.
Hi, I'm Utsav, a behavior researcher by training and a slow traveler by passion. Postcards from Nowhere is a travel podcast where I condense a decade of travel experiences and explore not just the where, but also the why and how to travel. My stories emerged from slow traveling the less explored parts of the world: Bosnia and Herzegovina, Armenia, Uzbekistan, and even China. At the end of each story, I give practical tips and new ideas about how to travel better. This week, I take you to the world's most visited necropolis and tell you about the lessons it gave me. Edith Piaf, Marcel Proust, and Oscar Wilde. French, and Irish. In Paris lies the necropolis, where you find the remains of the woman and the 2 men. The cemetery of the East is the final resting ground of people from all walks of life in France. And yet, these 3 stand out. Along with the American artist Jim Morrison, they have amongst the most visited graves in this garden cemetery. I arrived here on a cold December afternoon, made colder by the previous night's rain. I missed walking over the fallen leaves, which usually create a cackling sound under the weight of one's feet. The meandering paths led to cemeteries of people from all nationalities and religions. Apart from Christians, there are Jews and Muslims who are buried here as well. All this happened because in 1804, Napoleon, as the Emperor of France, had declared that every citizen has a right to be buried regardless of race or religion. It was declared illegal to have graves segregated by religion, because maybe it requires us to be dead to be truly united. Or maybe not. But the most distinct aspect I had of this afternoon were the colors which stood out. The entire cemetery was bathed in shades of black, grey and white, with tombstones in crypts closely packed to each other. Time had begun to leave its mark, and lichen and moss had crept over a few graves. The only real interruption to this dreary wet landscape, the numerous fresh flowers laid out. Red, yellow, blue, purple, violet, and every imaginable color nature has bestowed upon us. The fallen yellow-brown leaves of autumn had enveloped the city completely. Barren trees in the wet, gloomy weather lent an air of silence and grimness to the place. Isn't it strange that the same place at different times of the year could bring out completely different emotions in us? Had I visited the cemetery in spring, I would have come away with how life and death coexist here. I would have come away with the thought that even from the saddest of places can one expect hope and life to spring up. But the more I thought about the lives of Edith Piaf, Marcel Proust and Oscar Wilde, the less optimistic I felt. Oscar Wilde, one of the greatest playwrights of the 19th century, was persecuted and jailed for sodomy and gross indecency. His health greatly declined in prison, and he eventually passed away at the age of 46. A death which came too soon. All because he was homosexual. Marcel Proust, considered to be one of the most influential writers and thinkers of the 20th century, was constantly questioned about his homosexuality. He had to fight a pistol duel with another writer who accused him of having an affair with another man. He survived, but was subsequently identified in a raid at a male brothel in January 1918. His issues with sexuality never really left him. But what about Edith Piaf? The French singer, songwriter, actress who became widely regarded as France's greatest, most popular singer. Her crime was merely her lifestyle choices, the booze, drugs, and her lovers. Or if I may say, her only crime was being a woman. She was denied a mass by the Archbishop of Paris on these very counts. But her funeral procession drew tens and thousands of mourners onto the streets of Paris. It was the only time since the end of the World War II that the Parisian traffic came to a complete halt. Oscar Wilde, however, had to wait for 117 years. In 2017, he was among an estimated 50,000 men who were pardoned for homosexual acts. The act that is informally known as the Alan Turing Law. Edith Piaf, Marcel Proust and Oscar Wilde, all buried in the same cemetery, continue to live through the legacy of their work. And fittingly, the epitaph of Oscar Wilde has a verse which reads, "An alien tears will fill for him pity's long broken urn, for his mourners will be outcast men, and outcasts always mourn. In death, 6 feet under the ground, they aren't outcasts anymore. And most definitely, we should stop making outcasts of anyone who's unlike us. Because maybe the whole point of travel is to see and accept people who are unlike us. We need to stop defining people's entire identity by one single characteristic. We are more than just a race or a sexuality. And if I were to put it in the most Parisian way, we are as complex as a croissant with seemingly simple layers, but at its heart lies a beautiful butter-filled center." If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to reach out to me, I am Utsav Memoria on Twitter and YVTravel42 on Instagram.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have. Paisa Vaisa is brought to you by Paytm Money.
Do you wish you were smarter? Well, so do we. But the next best thing?
We could make you sound smarter.
And to help you with this endeavor, we are Simplified, a podcast that attempts to break down the complex world around you with a little knowledge, a lot of poor jokes, and a ton of random trivia.
Episodes out every Monday
On the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
See ya!